I was just about to say there are not one, but two CEOs today on the show. We have Sheldon Inwentash right here, CEO of 3D Capital. Then to my far left, we have Paul Duffy, CEO of AIML. You were on the show recently, of course. So thank you both for being here today. How are you guys doing today?
Good. It's great to be here on this brisk morning.
Yeah, Adira, thank you once again for having us. It's wonderful.
Yeah, so excited to talk to you guys today. So let's get into it. I'll start with a couple questions for Sheldon. You run a risk-diversified basket of high beta tech names, everything from quantum and Internet of AI to wearables, gold, copper, other resource plays. So with that in mind, can you give us a one-line snapshot of those names that you're most excited about right now?
Yes. So to remind people, we have approximately 60 companies. So we're very deep in the resource sector, looking for major discoveries. We like Forte Minerals as an example. We have a number of privates that are going to come public. 1 Bullion just came public. It's probably the largest landholder in the country of Botswana for minerals, 3 grass, roots and greenfield plays. So it's quite unique. We're deep in AI. We have a company, you mentioned Internet of AI, called Hypercycle, and another company called TotaQ for micropayments. We're extremely positive on imminent milestones, and that's really like we report on. And then there's Dynex, our quantum company. So, and then we're here with Paul, probably our top, in terms of public company, AIML, a company we're the largest shareholder in, and extremely positive about.
Well, let's get into that here. Let's talk about your track record of billion-dollar exits and multi-bagger wins. So how confident are you that AIML and Paul Duffy here fit this criteria, and what specifically gave you this confidence for this play?
So I've done a lot in the space of biotech. We had a company called Visible Genetics years ago. We financed it at 20 cents. It went to $120 on NASDAQ. It's in pharmacogenomics, which was personalized medicine. We went through the FDA. So I've been in many companies from beginning to exit. And with AIML, we think they've made a major disruptive invention, perhaps the most disruptive in 60 years in medical diagnostics around the heart. And it's all based on AI. So we're extremely positive. They've made a lot of progress and announcements, and that's why we wanted Paul here with us today.
Yeah, of course. And I actually want to mention that 60-year number that you just brought up here, Sheldon, because, Paul, can you tell us what AIML Innovation's 60-year breakthrough invention is?
Yeah, sure, I'd love to. So give me a minute or two to kind of go through it. So very, very top level, to be frank, what we ended up inventing and then patenting was a novel way to measure a heartbeat. And I know that sounds somewhat, I'll just call it superficial or naive, but the truth of it is, it allows us with our neural net technology to go into an actual recording of your heartbeat, typically through an ECG, an electrocardiogram device. And inside that signal, we're able to identify not just the pulse, but in fact, the start of what they call the P wave, so the start and stop of that wave, the start and stop of the QRS complex, and then the start and stop of the T wave. Now, a little bit science here, but if you think about taking those data points and putting them into a glorified Excel spreadsheet, now imagine that you do that for 2 or more heartbeats. But over the course of a day, you now have 100,000 heartbeats. So with that quantum of data, we then set up another table, believe it or not, that looks at the differences between how those data points are changing. And then we can even do this in real time, but let's just pretend it's a recording. Now we've got a time series database with a hard data wall of labels of your heart. This has not been done before in the entire 60 years that this industry has been around. And the ECG is the fulcrum point. It's the high point of leverage for all cardiovascular diagnostics. You come in to see your doctor, your healthcare provider, you're short of breath, probably the first thing they're going to do is ask you to take an ECG, understand what's going on in your heart. Now, with that data table and that time series table, we're able to produce a third table, which is all the anomalies that we identify happening within the context of that recording on your heart. That's the breakthrough, because we're device agnostic, so there's hundreds of different devices on the market today that we can apply our technology to. And then there are dozens of incumbent systems that are in place, both in regulatory and in what we call unregulated, which is the wellness market. So we've got this broad opportunity, this aperture of market availability right now that we're just entering. And to date, to Sheldon's point, the traction is just getting bigger and bigger for us. So we're very, very excited about this. Huge breakthrough.
Thank you so much for going over that with us.
Little lengthy.
So they can kind of understand, right, exactly what you guys do. So now let's get a little bit more into what differentiates you guys. What's technically different about MaxYield and CardioYield versus other AI ECG tools made by companies like Apple, Samsung, et cetera?
Yeah, it's a great question. So foundationally, those systems, those tools or those products, those devices, what they do is they look for your R-peak. So they're looking for that pulse. You know how you feel your heartbeat, beep, 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 that kind of, they're just identifying that. What we're doing is we're cracking open the heartbeat and we're finding all the fiduciary points that live within the heartbeat. And then as I mentioned with MaxYield, we're able to actually create the maximum amount of diagnostic yield possible from that recording. None of these devices can do that today, not even close. So, and we're not looking to compete with them, by the way. I want to sort of outline this for our, your viewers and our shareholders. We're looking to license our technology natively into their platforms because it is an elegant install of a neural net through an SDK. All of a sudden, those devices now get access to that vast quantum of data that I just talked about through MaxYield. When they're in market and they're talking about their wellness, their longevity, and even their clinical efficacy, they've now got this amazing technology that can almost turbo boost what they're able to do in the market. So we're a nice, elegant solution for these guys, and we're in a multitude of discussions with them right now.
Yeah, that's certainly really important to know, and I think a very important distinction as well. So this last question for both of you, what are your stock catalysts to watch out for now that are going to cause a move higher, and what does success look like 3 years out? So I'm going to start with you, Sheldon.
Sure. Well, first thing I should say, we're trading at an 80% discount to our value, primarily because of the delay in launches in some of our companies that we expected last year. But this is a year for commercialization, and we think there's some very significant milestones that are imminent, that we hear from our companies that they're working on. So we're very excited about what's going to happen here for the first 6 months of the year.
That's awesome. Paul, same question to you. What catalysts should we watch out for, and how do things look 3 years out for AIML?
Well, I can wax all day on where we'd be in 3 years from now. Pulling it back to today, price of our stock clearly does not represent the potential, nor does it represent the phenomenal technology. And I might mention that MaxYield that we talked about has a formidable stack of intellectual property and patents in play, and only getting bigger every month, right? So just that alone warrants a significant, I'll call it, re-rate in value of what we do. On top of that, we are progressing very quickly, and I would probably wager through the first half of this year into the early part of the second half of this year, we will begin to clear the regulatory clearances. That is substantial because now we're able to move directly into the clinical markets that are really the foundations for what we're building. So we're with the FDA, we're with Health Canada, and we're deeply ensconced in Jamaica through their Ministry of Health and Safety. We believe the Jamaican opportunity will represent probably one of the strongest proxies into serving globally all of these rural and remote communities that are almost always orphaned when it comes to getting access to high quality cardiovascular diagnostics. So we believe that the next 6 months are going to be incredibly transformative for us as a company. We're also moving through very quickly commercialization to get to revenue and then eventually revenue break even. We're a mean company. Our horizon for profitability is not a lot, and we feel a number of deals, 3, 4, 5, tips us over the edge to get to that. If I look back and where we're going in 36 months, it's super exciting. AI, as we all know, is galloping in capability. If I looked out 18 to 36 months, our vision is to take this patented technology process, MaxYield, construct what we view as a super signal, and allow us to move from not just the heart, but into the brain, into your blood glucose, into other modalities, so that you create a super signal that can be used both in the consumer wearable environment, but also in the regulatory, where appropriate. So it's greenfield for us. We are able to do all of that because we've got the foundational technology in our wheelhouse.
It's incredible. And thank you so much for both of you for being here. Again, guys, this is
Thank you.
Sheldon Inwentash, CEO of 3D Capital, and Paul Duffy, CEO of AIML. Thank you to you both for being
You're welcome.
here. And
Yeah.
Thanks,
thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks very much to the guys and for Adara. Great information, great interview, guys. AIML, the ticker, make sure you're checking that out. AIML Innovations on the Pure Network. Thank you very, very much. All right, let's get back to trading.
Well,
Bhavin.
there's a IDK as well too, guys. 8 cents right there for 3D Capital right there. 3D Capital.
3D Capital.
Yeah.
All right, we're doing it freaking live right now on RPGL. I don't know what's going on with the position board, guys. We got 58s. We just went the beak there at 83. Great strength on RPGL, but it is having trouble with that 80 penny area, despite the fact that it is an 85 penny high.